And I think we're live. We are live. Hey, folks, welcome to Meeting of the Minds.
Hey,
All right, so I got a few subjects lined up for us today. I mean, granted, it's mainly uh, politics. I'll be the first to admit it, but well, news and politics. But we're
everybody's
gonna,
favorite subject,
especially
politics.
mine, because that's kind of what the triggering is about, news and politics. But we're going to start out with the whole Bill Maher situation and his comments about Stan Lee.
Hmm.
I know you saw that. Oh, I know you saw that. Uh,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, I saw the headline. I was looking for the actual clip of what he said, but unfortunately, I just saw
Well,
quotes. So
all right. So Slick Jimmy is currently working, so he won't be able to make it. All right. Give me 1 sec. I will pop up the thing again so I can give you an exact, you know what I mean, quote.
oh yeah, definitely.
Uh, oh, what's up, Avid? I did not want that. Uh, I hate that whenever you click on an article, they automatically play the videos. It's like, look, douchebag, if I want you to play the video, I'd click play.
Yeah.
All right, so do. The guy who created Spider Man and the Hulk has died, and America is in mourning, Mayer wrote. Deep, deep mourning for a man who inspired millions to, I don't know, watch a movie, I guess? Someone on Reddit posted, I'm incredibly grateful I lived in a world with Stan Lee. Personally, I'm grateful I lived in a world that included oxygen and trees, but to each his own. Now, I have nothing against comic books. I read them now and then when I was a kid, and I was all out of Hardy Boys. But the assumption everyone had back then, both adults and kids, was that comics were for kids. And when you grow up, you moved on to big boy books without the pictures. But then 20 years or so ago, something happened. Adults decided they didn't have to give up kid stuff, Mayor ranted, and so they pretend comic books were actually sophisticated literature. And because America has over 4,500 colleges, which means we need more professors than we have smart people, some dumb people got to be professors by writing things like the otherness and heterodoxy of in the Silver Surfer. And then when adults are forced to do grown up things like buy auto insurance, they call it adulting and act like it's some giant struggle. Uh, that man, okay, that's a quote from Stan Lee, but that's basically it. Like,
Huh. Okay. Yeah. I thought he said it on his show for some reason. I didn't realize it was a blog post. So
yeah.
okay. Yeah. Oh wow. I think the big problem is he said it literally right after Stan Lee died. Like talk about bad taste. I mean, if he wants to talk about whether comic books or uh, have any kind of literary merit, I mean, I'm sure people would be more than happy to have that conversation. We've been having that since the freaking 70s.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, it's just I don't know. I feel like it's just bad timing on his part, but at the same time, he's probably just trolling. So, I mean, I'm sure he believes that, but the fact that he had to say that right after Stan Lee passed, it's a little bit of a dick move, I think.
Oh, I agree. And let's be honest, we're talking about, DC Fans United pointed out, yeah, that's kind of been his thing. He's very much a, if you will, a shock jock in that
Hmm.
aspect.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, one, this isn't the first crazy thing he's said in recent, months. I mean, I should say since Trump's been elected. I mean, if you don't remember earlier this year, his whole comment about uh, the only way to stop Trump, I think, will be for us to have a recession. I know that'll hurt some
Uh,
people, but yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
So Bill Mayer has proven himself to just be a bit of a douchebag anyway. But
Yeah.
at the same time, you're still talking about an individual who's not willing to bridge the gap, if you will, to look at his fellow man and be like, I know you're hurting. I mean, and the sad thing is like, I don't know if you ever saw his movie Religulous.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that when it came out.
Yeah, like he made a lot of valid points. He's proven time and again that he's an intelligent individual. But the thing is it's and hey, I'm be the first to admit, being smart doesn't prevent you from doing or saying stupid things. But I swear to God, has made it into an art form since Trump has gotten elected. I mean, well, it's
Yeah, yeah. Bill Maher is an interesting case because I respect the fact that even though he's like progressive, like a lot of times he'll go against like the leftist talking points, and he'll have his own opinion whether it's popular or not. So I do respect that about him, and like you said, he's had a history of saying really controversial things that get him in trouble. So I'm not too surprised on that end, but I don't know. It's just the whole argument of comics. Comics are not. They're just stupid things for kids. It's like we've been having that argument for decades. Like it's just like a boring argument at this point. Like clearly he doesn't know what he's talking about because this back in the 80s, that was when like a point like that would have been like profound, like, oh, our comics they're not for kids anymore. Like we've been through that. So
mm-hmm.
it just shows that he doesn't know what he's talking about, and that's fine. But I don't know. Even if you think comics are just for kids, fair enough. But you know you got to put Stan Lee in the same category as someone like Walt Disney.
Mm-hmm.
He affected American pop culture in a profound way, whether you like it or not. And he in the Mount Rushmore of American icons, like it doesn't matter what you think about the art form of comic books. Stan Lee, you have to respect what he did.
Well, yeah,
So
and like, I mean, don't get me wrong. It may have been trying to remember. I think it was Bob Kane and Jerry Siegel, I do believe that
um
they were the ones that pretty like and Jerry Siegel's partner that helped create
uh
Superman.
Joe Shuster, Jerry
Y-
Siegel, they
Yes,
created Superman. Yep.
yes. Those three are the ones that are responsible for your more modern superhero. I mean, the argument could be made that Arthur Conan Doyle was more of the original creator of superheroes because if you look at Sherlock Holmes and same thing with Edgar Rice Burroughs with the Tarzan and John Carter from Mars books. But
Yep.
the whole point is, though, the modern superheroes have to be would attribute to, you know, those three, and then more predominantly Stan Lee. Like they started the idea, Stan Lee perfected it. Though he made it an art, he made it viable to do with the way he did Marvel Comics. Because remember, prior to that, like in the 50s going into the 60s when Marvel really became what we think of with modern comics today, it was very much like horror, romance, westerns, very pulp
Hmm.
type comics and whatnot, not really the guess you could say the tights and cape affair that it is now with overarching stories and things like that. Hell, if you look at Action Comics, there's several stories in there. It's not just Superman.
Yeah.
Superman was the title cover, yes, but it was several stories with Superman only being a few pages long.
Yeah, and so the patient zero for superheroes. Obviously, there's predecessors with the pulp heroes from the 30s, but 1938, that's when Action Comics #1 was Superman debuted. So
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty much the birth of the superhero, and then obviously Batman, Green Lantern, Flash, Wonder Woman, all these other DC heroes followed in the 40s, but back then in the golden age of superheroes, these characters were treated like these larger than life kind of like almost Greek god type figures. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't until the '60s with Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko that they gave a sense of I guess you could say realism to these superheroes where he gave them real life uh,
He gave them
problems. Yeah, he gave them personalities and flaws, and he made them human.
he
He
humanized.
brought he humanized them, and suddenly the superheroes weren't in these crazy fictional cities like Gotham or Metropolis. They were in New York City, so
Mm-hmm.
he grounded them, and
Well,
that
that was
that's kind of defined the difference between Marvel and DC ever since. DC is this fantasy, larger than life universe, or at least it should be, and then
mhm.
Marvel was and is the real world.
Oh
So
yeah. Well, that was one of Stan Lee's things. He basically said that he wanted to make sure that the stories were grounded. What you saw within the what they saw outside of their window is what he wanted in the comics, i.e.,
hmm
why they went with New York City, because that's where they lived. All of these guys were from New York City. That's where they lived.
yeah.
We have a Jim Heelis in chat.
Hey Jim.
Don't know if you know, but that's the creator and writer of Blue Mamba.
Ah, nice.
Yes, good book, very good book.
Yeah, I heard that's it's been shipping out right now. People are
Uh,
starting to get their copies.
I do believe so. If not, a lot of them have gotten their copies already.
Cool.
I was one of the fortunate folks that got it early, got to read it and everything and
Nice.
whatnot. I still need to do a review on it. It's just,
Yeah,
uh,
it's awesome how many of these comics are finally getting into people's hands.
oh
Uh,
yeah,
I think I've gotten 3 or 4 already that I've ordered, so it's awesome. It's like I I usually I usually let my mailbox get completely full before I check it, and I'm too lazy to check the mail. But now I'm like checking it every other day, just hoping for another package
you
from
know.
some comic.
Hey, I don't blame you. I mean, it's granted there's been a lot of talk about the death of CG and this, that, and the other and
Mm,
whatnot, and uh, I'm half and half. I partly agree, partly don't. I agree in the sense that it's not so much CG died, it's splintered. You
yeah,
have those who want to continue to use the CG tag and whatnot and are going to be loyal to a specific faction. And then you have the rest of us who are like hashtag Team Comics, and we're just going to be like, we're not having anything against the CG side. It's just CG. There's a lot of members within CG who have become too much like the SJWs that we were all rallying against in the in the beginning of this, and I was kind of late to the party, but so I'm
yeah.
just like Team
I feel
Comics.
yeah. I mean, I feel like in a weird way, it's almost a positive thing that there's so much infighting within CG or whatever you want to call that movement. In a way, only because unlike the NPCs, we're all individual thinkers. We all have our own thoughts, and we the last thing we want to do is have a groupthink mentality. So the fact that all these different factions are forming within the movement, I think that's a good thing in a way because it just goes to show that even though we all come together under this banner of as a reaction to what we hate or what we're seeing in the modern comic book industry, we all have our own opinions, and we're not going to agree on everything. And I don't know. I kind of see that as a weirdly a good thing because it shows that we're not this group hive mind mentality that we just blindly follow a set of talking points, which is exactly what the mainstream comic industry is all about, and why a reaction was needed against it in the first place. So
Well,
yeah,
it's one of those, our differences breed strength, and while we are unable to agree, and we all have we all there are, like I said, individuals that I feel do create issues that we should be trying to avoid, we should be trying to rectify. I do feel that at the same time, like I said, it breeds strength because if push comes to shove, there's enough of us that are willing to be like, hey, that dude's cool, that dude's not. We need to stop the infighting, things like that.
Yeah, and it's like we're able to agree to disagree most of the time. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's everybody has their likes and dislikes. There's people within the movement that I like. There's people within the movement that I disagree with. But unlike unlike the mainstream pros, we can agree to disagree. We can still get along with each other. I think that's the main difference between us and them is uh, we're allowed to have our own thoughts and we're allowed to have our own philosophies, and they might not always match up, but at the end of the day, we all just want good comic books. So
Mm-hmm.
if we have our disagreements, that I don't know, I don't see that as necessarily a bad thing.
No, and it's all in how we handle our disagreements. That's what
Yes,
shows our strength.
yes,
Like,
yep,
I'll admit, I all right. Whether you like or dislike the war campaign, I should have handled my disagreements with them better instead of being like I was very public about it. Everyone knows I have been, but I made the comment, fuck Roe, and then Roe came up to me and was like, hey man, la da da da. He handled it right. He
hmm
knew. And I told him straight up. I didn't know if he had seen the video or whatnot. I told him, like, look, dude, I'm not a fan of the war campaign. I think you guys are overly aggressive and this, that, and the other. And he's like, I understand that, la da 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 da. We talked it out like grown adults, like you're
yeah,
supposed to do. And granted, like I said in one of my videos where I pretty much was bad it sounds complaining. I think it was the third episode of the triggering, where I was really getting tired of the infighting within us. Sup, Matt? But where I was really getting tired of all the infighting within comics and whatnot. And I kind of put it on the line. One of the things I pointed out is like I would like to get Bro on here. I'd like to get some of the war campaign guys on here just to as a sign of good faith that we are all willing to work together and that we can come together. But at the same time, I understand that most of the guys that I stream with don't like them, and I don't blame them. Like I really don't. Like they.
yeah, and I really like the war campaign. I'm just gonna say that. But at the same time, I also understand if people don't necessarily like what they're doing. I will say this, I've personally I've had nothing but good interactions with the war campaign. They've been very good to me. I've been on their show twice now, and they've always on and off the air they've been very good to me. They've helped me promote my book, and they I don't know. They just I think the problem is and this is perfectly fair. I think some people just don't like their gimmick. They don't like the whole Hail Caesar thing. I think it's just fun. They'll be the first to admit that they're LARPing and they're just having a good time. And I think the problem is that this conception has gotten out there that they're targeting people who are against either Comicsgate or EVS, and that they'll ruthlessly attack them. And I'm not necessarily I don't see that personally. So, I'd be more than willing to change my mind if I see evidence to the contrary. But I feel like there's this they've weirdly become like this boogeyman within the movement, and I feel like it's gotten blown a little bit out of proportion, at least from what I can see. Because, like you said, if you actually talk to them, and they'll be more than happy to talk things out with you, like you did with Roe. So I don't know, and they're doing this whole hashtag blame war campaign, kind of making a joke out of the fact that a lot of people within the movement don't necessarily like what they're doing, but at the end of the day, they're just fans like the rest of us, and they're they have their own brand and their own way of doing things. And again, if you don't like that, that's perfectly fine. That's fine with me. But I don't know. I feel like in a way they get a lot of undeserved criticism from what I see anyway.
Well, the the biggest problem is that I've seen is they will go whole hog on somebody for
Mm.
one reason or another, and uh, I like that, except for when you bring up when Roe DM'd Runfamous.
Well,
And
he didn't. Well, just to set the record straight, I mean, I don't want to speak for anybody, but he didn't DM Renfamous. He's gone on record to say that that wasn't who he DM'd. It was some minor SJW. So, but go
well,
ahead.
either way, it's still one of those DMs were used. And now my whole thing is, and that's one area where I am like, I will admit, if you do something and you get basically like what was happened to him, where he pretty much got DMs used against him, like had he not put himself in that situation, he wouldn't have had it happen. And that's where I look at a lot of this is it's why I try to make sure to not be, I guess you could say, I don't say anything in private or in a quote unquote any group because people can screenshot and you know how people can be. That
Yeah, I think it's a good policy to not say anything in private that you can't stand behind in public.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously you don't you you want to be able to trust people with private conversations, but at the same time, you got to be able to stand by what you say. So,
Mhm. And and that's why I very much stood by, especially when it comes to like the war campaign and whatnot. When I got called out for it, I said, "Look, I'm not backing down. That's literally how I felt about it, and I'm still gonna I still feel like y'all are too hyperbolic. Y'all are go too full hog, and if y'all were to pull it back, it'd be better for the community as a whole.
hmm
They're not going to do that, but." At the same time, I voiced my concerns. They do try, like, at least with me, I know if, and I've tried to be the peacekeeper. I just also know the problem with being the peacekeeper is nobody listens to the peacekeeper anyway. And like my guys, they made their, like Matt for instance in chat, he made it quite known he's not gonna try to be buddy buddy with them, and I'm not gonna make him do it.
yeah, and that's perfectly acceptable.
Hmm.
Um, like I said, I personally don't have an issue with the war campaign. Far from it. I'm actually friendly with them, but at the same time, if somebody doesn't like the way they do things, they don't like their style, that's perfectly acceptable to me. I think we should be allowed to. Everybody is entitled to their opinion, and if you don't like the war campaign, I don't. There's. I
Well,
just think, yeah, I just think them, being the kind of boogeyman of Comicsgate, I think that's a little blown out of proportion, but at the same time,
well,
people are more than welcome to have their
it,
opinion. So,
it's a good thing. Let's be honest. Like you said, it's a bit of a good thing. A little bit of drama helps sell comics. Whether you are a supporter of the war campaign or against the war campaign, one way or another, like let's say you're in the middle, right? And you're sitting there, you're like, well, the war campaign guys are coming down on me. I don't know what to do. You sell comic because people are showing you some support. At the same time, I'm cool with the war campaign guys. They had me on. People support you. You sell comics. Either way, comics are being sold. Who and yes, like I said, they've done things that I disagree with. I've done things that I'm sure people disagree with on my front. You know what I mean?
hmm yeah,
And so it's I just noticed something, but yeah. So to me, it's just no point in. I guess you could say worrying about it. And we can move on to other topics this way. We're not just talking about the war campaign.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think at the very least it would be interesting if you did get one of those guys on your show just to talk it out. I mean, at the
Oh,
very least, it would make for good radio, you know?
mm, but no, like I said, I'd like to get him on. It's just that I don't want to put my guys, like the guys that I stream with, predominantly in a bad spot.
Yeah, you definitely, you wouldn't want to do it with anybody who's uncomfortable with that. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
But all right, so let's see. So talking about some news stuffs. You ready for that?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So first topic, we're going to talk about the Kavanaugh situation. Like you remember that a few months ago, Kavanaugh being, confirmed for the Supreme Court. Then all of a sudden, all these allegations come out, and this, that, and the other, all decades old. No way to corroborate. No way to, you know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah,
And
that's interesting how that whole thing just disappeared.
that's actually the point I was about to make. Is then afterwards it all disappears. Well, a couple of the New York Times reporters that helped, that actually was doing it, like, mind you, folks, if you're ever worried about, the legitimacy of a news source, there's a browser extension that you can get an add-on. It's called NewsGuard, and it rates all the various news sources, basically, green, yellow, and red, and satire sites are like pink with like a weird thing and whatnot. And so it's basically any news source I use is either has yet to be rated or has a green check mark. And by yet to be rating, it's going through the process of it. If it ends up with red, with it's a heavily biased or whatnot, I don't use it.
Hmm.
So this one's coming from the Daily Wire. Uh, but basically, two New York Times reporters, Associated Press reported Wednesday that Kate Kelly and Robin Pogrebin have gotten a deal with Portfolio to write a book entitled The Education of Brett Kavanaugh, which, according to the publisher, will focus on many unanswered questions about the sexual assault accusation logged at Kavanaugh dating back to his high school and college days just before the confirmation vote was set to be held. All right. Now, that's that's basically all you really need to know because quite frankly, like you said, that it all quickly disappeared from the news cycle afterwards. This is just people who are trying to take advantage of it to get a no hold in quotes barred book deal and basically get to blast Republicans because the New York Times is heavily biased. I mean, they are rated credible, but at the same time, they are known for being heavily biased.
Yeah, I think we can expect plenty of Kavanaugh related books to be coming out in the next few years. Anytime there's a controversy or a big story like that, there's always people that they have the answers, they have the scoop, and it's a tell all book. So, but
Well, and let's be honest, the uh first off, you have the fact that Christine Blasey Ford came out. She's a psychologist, all right? She coached a friend of hers on how to pass a polygraph test. And her friend went on to do the polygraph test for the FBI. Now, mind you, this is coming from Christine Blasey Ford's own boyfriend, or ex-boyfriend, I should say. And this is happened back in the 90s. And on top of that, you mean to tell me that a psychologist, someone who is a psychology professor, would not like, okay, first off, if you're a psychology professor, you're going to know about how to get around polygraph tests and whatnot because it deals with stress levels, things like that.
mhm. Yeah. Well, at the risk of disgracing the legacy of the man who created Wonder Woman. I don't know. I've always been suspicious about polygraph tests. That just seems there's no way that could be completely reliable. I don't know.
Well, you're also dealing with, like, you are right, but at the same time, it's the fact that the point I was making also can make it in conjunction with that, I guess you could say, is the fact that he is a the also it was a male feminist and into BDSM and things like that.
That is true.
So,
He was a weird guy.
oh yeah, but moving back on the topic, polygraph tests are also not admissible in court. So what does that say? Uh, but at the same time, the point being is if you look at how she gave her presentation, all right, the way she talked, you could tell was very rehearsed, and like the way her presentation, it was very like her body language was very small, and like you could tell she was trying to give a I guess you could say the facade of being frail and being weak, and you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you could hear it in her voice, you could hear it in like everything that she did. And 10 to 1, that's not how she actually talks. Like I bet you, like I after this, I feel I'm going to need some caffeine. Like little things she said that was blatantly you could tell was meant to play on emotional strings and things of such.
yeah. I think it goes back to the I don't know if you want to call it a conspiracy theory, but it's the idea that we're living in two different realities because people half the country with those testimonies, half the country saw one thing and half the country saw the other. Half the country saw her as this, like you said, just kind of like hamming it up for the committee and uh, playing it up and coming across as extremely disingenuous. And then they saw Kavanaugh as this giving this heartbreaking testimony. But then the other half of the country saw the complete opposite, where they were left in tears by Ford's testimony, and they thought Kavanaugh was just completely full of it and was just overacting and pretending to be emotional. So it's like it really is like we're living in two different realities because half the country saw a completely different thing than the other half, which is very weird.
Oh yeah, and oh, what's up, Mecca? We have a Mecca Studios in the chat.
Hey,
But well, and that's the thing. Like Kavanaugh, the biggest thing, the way you could tell is like Kavanaugh though is not a trained psychologist. Kavanaugh doesn't know how to manipulate people. He is a judge. If anything, he knows what you can do within the realms of legality and so on and so forth. And he threw that out the window to pretty much be like, you know what, I'm done. I like that's what I saw was somebody who's just like, you know what, I'm fucking done being nice. I'm done trying to play by rules that are just going to be used against me.
yeah, and his political opponents, it wouldn't have mattered how he reacted if he, they said that he had a temper and he was overacting, but if he had been cool, calm, and collected, they would have thrown that at him and said, "Oh, he's emotionless. He has no. Why is he have no emotion at what he did?" So either way, they would have spun it. So it was,
Exactly.
yeah,
So the whole thing was just a bit of a facade, if you will. Like I guess you could say it was a show for the cameras and for the American people, but regardless, Kavanaugh was getting confirmed.
yep. Did he get confirmed, or is he going to get
Yeah, he's
confirmed?
confirmed. He's right now sitting on the Supreme Court. And
Wait, so he's already
yes,
he's got the robes and everything.
he got all of it. He is a part
Wow.
of the Supreme Court, and I'm happy because you know what they wrong like. And here's the thing: they ran that man through the mud, and you know what? All it did is anyone who has any bit of, I guess you could say, proper human emotion, they felt bad for Kavanaugh because they saw what
Mhm.
was going on. They all the information that was given to him was, you know, the fact that the Feinstein, I should say, had that letter for 2 months, didn't say anything when she had every opportunity to say it. And then right at the end, it quote unquote gets leaked to the public. And if you look
Yeah.
at Feinstein, the way she acts when they question her about it right there in those videos, you notice she kind of shrinks, small body. I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't the
Mm.
one who. I would never leak it to the public. Like, you could see it's obviously she knows who did it. She didn't do it, but you basically did the I'm going to put this here and leave the room. Should something happen with it, I can't say I was the one who did it. You know what I mean? She's
Yeah.
not lying, but she's not being entirely honest at the same time. And then you have the fact that um the like her uh oh Schumer, how those two are under investigation by the FBI for that.
Chuck Schumer.
Yeah,
Oh.
Senator Schumer.
Well.
Amy Schumer's uncle. Yeah.
Oh god.
Oh God, how'd you get called in a? What's up, Ninja? Let me give you a link real quick. And I'm kind of curious, Mecca. How'd you get called an adult virgin today? Like, cause that's a new one,
Excelsior.
right? Dude, no, like that's one thing I like. I wish they would quit. Like, all right, how do I explain this? That is the Freudian ideology that has crept into our society. For criticizing the new She-Ra. That
Ugh.
explains it. Yeah. But that is a Freudian ideology that has become rampant within our society, where everything boils down to basically, if you're a man, it all boils down to my dick. And instead of it being, you know, I guess you could say, instead of things having nuance and things like that, it just boils down to how sexually repressed you are, and this, that, and the other, and the how society would be better if we all just had ejaculations and things like that. That is pure and simple Freud. And the fact that you didn't like the new She-Ra is because of the fact that you can't masturbate to the new She-Ra, or because you're insecure in yourself enough for this, that, and the other, because of the fact that you can't masturbate to the new She-Ra. And that's exactly what it is. Because what was the main complaint that they were throwing out there when everyone was talking shit about the new She-Ra? We're sorry, you. Because you can't masturbate to her, you don't like her. I quite frankly, I take Canales' approach to that. I think he had the best response to that. Oh yes, but you're so happy about it because you can now.
Yeah, exactly. These freaks are totally doing that to whatever non-gender anti-woman thing that you want to call that She-Ra abomination. I mean that cartoon. If hating that cartoon is wrong, I don't want to be right, because that just looking at the stills, it's disgusting to me. Like, it just looks so bad, and it's funny that the people who are, they call men incels and they call them virgins. It's like, so what are you saying, that men are entitled to women's bodies? Like, at one sense, you're calling people out as incels, but then at the same time, you don't want them to objectify women. It's like they don't even. It makes no sense.
It's like we were talking before we went live. How the hypocrisy of the far left.
Yeah.
It's on the one hand, if you it's like how you mentioned they were blaming the rise of the far right for the rise of them, even though they've been there. Like, okay, to give you a quick history, which I meant to do before we went live, it started with the Occupy Wall Street movement, which originally did have people from the right as a part of it too. It was those who had seen that were on the right, that were Republican, but had seen how Wall Street had grown too big and understood history that sooner or later you're going to have a bust.
Hmm.
And then The Identitarians got involved, ran them off, but the Occupy movement kept going. Those that left went on to become the Tea Partiers. Well, the Tea Partiers, while basically kind of not being taken seriously and once again being infiltrated by identitarians, which I firmly believe every time these right-wing groups get I guess you could say get infiltrated, it's always by like, or I should say they always end up somehow miraculously having Nazis become a part of their group, right?
Hmm.
Isn't that always a bit quaint? Because let's be honest, but you never have that happen to the left, right? Never have that happen to the left. Even though their ideology quite literally falls more in line with that type of, and has historically always been, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
they,
it's hard to tell what's even real anymore in this day and age. So many people are trying to manipulate the narrative and get one over on people, and it's all deception. It's very it's hard to even know what's real anymore.
oh yeah, very true, very true. But yeah, no, that's my something I had noticed. All right. And let me see. On to the next one. Let's see. I want to. All right. So this one is kind of a bit of a mix. It came to me from. I saw it and just kind of passed over it originally, like story wise, because of the fact that it didn't strike me as it struck me as kind of like, all right, whatever. I'm not gonna be mad because it looks like outrage fodder, right? Well, then Chris Ray had some tweets about it, and I started reading. I was like, "What the hell is he blabbering on about?"
What's up, Bob?
Oh, what's up, Ninja?
How you guys doing this evening?
Doing all right.
Hey,
Still
Ninja, nice
talking
to meet
about
you.
the... Hey, yeah, nice to meet you. I think we're in a group together.
But all right. So basically, what happened is, I have to go to basically a group of guys go into Chipotle. They're planning on getting something to eat, right? Well, the manager, and rightfully so in this case, says if they want to eat, they have to pay beforehand because apparently this isn't the first time they've gone into this Chipotle and then ditched. Like they ate and ditched. And then they bragged about it on Twitter. Like
I don't know what Chipotle they're going to, because every time I go, you got to pay first. I don't know.
Well, they made a.
I actually had Chipotle today.
Oh, nice. I've never had it, so I wouldn't know.
I love Chipotle. Just gonna throw that out there. Cheap plug for Chipotle.
Nice, but never ate there. But so I figured it was one of those. Basically, they like a regular restaurant. You go in, you basically order your food, grub, like like IHOP or something. Where
Yeah, you sit down, you have your meal, you pay your bill, you walk out.
It's Chipotle? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. What is it, more like a McDonald's where you just walk up to the counter, you pay, and then you get your food?
Well, unless
I've never been to Chipotle.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know, unless there's like different types, but every Chipotle I've ever been to, it's kind of like Subway, where you just go down the line and you tell them what you want. It's like, oh, I want chicken, I want beans, like for your burrito or whatever. So.
Is that what it is? Burritos?
Yeah, like burritos and bowls.
I'm going to Chipotle tomorrow.
Oh man, it's the best. I freaking love it.
I hope they have them out here in Pennsylvania. I don't remember seeing one.
I can tell you we don't have one here in Lawton, so whatever. But
deprived.
Well, I don't think we have a Red Robin, and if we do, it's something we just got. Hell, I think I'm trying to think of how things we just got. Like we just finally got a Target like 2-3 years ago.
Huh. Wow. Yeah, we have Targets everywhere here. See, y'all are deprived because I live in Texas and we have Whataburger, and
Dude,
that's
like Southwest, we got it too. Like,
what state are you in?
Oklahoma.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, I,
Dude, I'm like 30 minutes, like not even like 15 to 20 minutes from the Texas border.
oh, so you know the joys of Whataburger,
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
spicy ketchup.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry, but when you go to Whataburger and you get like, okay, Ninja, you don't know about Whataburger because you don't have them
Nope.
there. All right, let me put it to you like this: picture like Carl's Jr. sized burgers, like big burgers.
Yeah, they have Hardee's here.
Yeah, well, but like
It's the same thing as Carl's Jr.
basically, but like big burgers. I think actually Whataburger is actually a little bit bigger than theirs, but like good big sized burgers, always fresh cooked. Like, oh my god,
man.
amazing.
You know, they had that Diablo burger there for a while, where it was like the burger with bacon and jalapeno poppers, and then they had that delicious jalapeno sauce that they put on there too. Oh man, that thing was or Carl's Jr. Yeah, it depends on where you're at. Same franchise, but oh man, those burgers were good.
Oh yeah, no, but we're talking. I had those, man, and I was just like, and so okay, bit of a shock. I thought Whataburgers was like coast to coast, right? Well, so when I go to Colorado, I was all like, so where's Whataburger? My friend's like, what? What's a Whataburger? What, you don't?
Yeah. See, I was shocked that you have it in Oklahoma because I thought it was strictly Texas. So
nope. Wrong.
It's spreading.
Oh, we've had them since like I moved here and I moved to Oklahoma in '91. So.
Okay. Well, we're starting to get In-N-Out Burger here. I don't know if y'all have that.
We do actually. We just got that a couple years ago as well.
Yeah, I really like In-N-Out. There's not one that's too close to me, but yeah.
We're just starting to get Popeyes around here.
Oh wow!
Now, yeah, Popeyes. I'm so glad too because the KFC up here sucks, and so does the Bojangles.
What part of the country are you in?
He's in Pennsylvania.
I'm in. Oh, okay. Yeah, PA. Represent.
But at the same time, dude, I remember we got churches though, so we don't need Popeyes.
We got everything here: churches, Popeyes, KFC.
Yeah.
and no, Brahms. All I gotta say is Brahms.
Never heard of that. Brahms.
Oh wait, you don't have a Brahms, man? I thought they had Brahms in Texas too.
No, well, you know, the best chicken place is actually Chick-fil-A. So we at least have one of them.
Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, they don't serve fried chicken, right? It's just the sandwiches.
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually don't have like pieces of fried chicken, but that's okay. I don't need the bones.
All right.
Yeah, I love.
You can't eat them.
Avid just made the comment about how wait till we get a Jack in the Box in town. We actually just got a Jack in the Box like 6 years ago. We finally got a Jack in the Box here in town. We just got a Dairy Queen like last year.
Oh wow, Dairy Queen has been out here for a long, long time.
We used to have one, from what I heard, back in like the 70s and the 80s, but they've been out of business. So it took until, like I said, last year to get one back in town again. Like I've had there before because I know other places in Oklahoma that I've been have had it. But we just got one last year, Spork. Just last year. A5 Guys. I haven't even
ate it.
I haven't even
Five Guys is good. Especially when you get their fries. They get like this freaking a small fry is like everybody else's normal large.
Dude,
I can't see the chat anymore.
Uh, uh, basically, Avid agreeing. Uh, nope, no White Castle.
Oh yeah, I don't. There's no White Castle here. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, there's
I
no
don't know if
White
there's one
Castles
in the
over here
state,
either.
but yeah, none anywhere close to me. When I think of Five Guys, I just think that they're expensive. That's all I remember because I've been
Yeah,
there like once, and I just remember it being really expensive.
that's why we haven't had it because they're so expensive.
All right, maybe I'm confusing that with Mighty Fine Burgers. I don't know. Is that
I
national?
think we had one of those like open up like say 5 6 years ago, but then closed down because no one ate there because of how expensive they are.
Hmm.
So, but
Well,
no,
now I'm hungry.
dude, me too. I'm like, man, I could go for like no, and it's all because of you, Mike. Man, I can go for like a Whataburger and fries.
Well, that's another good thing about Whataburger. They're always open,
I know, right?
24 hours, and they don't like you can get a burger in the morning.
Hmm.
Like it's not just breakfast.
Yeah, which is good because let's just be honest, their pancakes are like rubber.
Yeah, I've never had their pancakes,
I did. I thought they were like rubber to me. I'm like, oh,
but
I don't know.
I work the night shift, so when I get off work, there's nothing to eat but breakfast food, and I'm not the biggest fan of breakfast food, so it's nice to be
Right?
able to have Whataburger sometimes.
Oh yeah, like real talk, dude. Real
Yeah.
talk. Let's see. But all right, moving on because Chipotle and all this talk of food. I'm just like, all right,
Yeah, we totally went off on a fat kid tangent.
look, this is meeting of the minds. If we don't go on a tangent, it's not meeting of the mind.
Meeting of the Minds, MEAT.
Like
DC fan says breakfast food is epic, though. I tend to agree. I like that McDonald's does their all breakfast all day long, so I can get me some egg McMuffins whenever.
I think it's because people were wanting their egg McMuffins whenever, and they're like, you know what I mean? Oh
Oh yeah,
fuck you, Daily News, Dallas News. I am so not. That's the one thing I hate about some of these news sites, man. They're like, you want to get the news? You need your fix, man? You need your fix? Pay me, motherfucker! No. And oh god, they hate ad blockers, man. They hate it with a passion. Oh,
Hey,
we
what's
finally
going on,
got an
guys?
animator in
Hey,
here.
Josh.
How you doing?
hey Josh.
Everyone doing good? What's going on? What I miss?
How you doing?
Pretty
We're
much.
talking about delicious food, and now we're talking about some assholes from Chipotle.
Oh man, talking about delicious food, dude. I got at work the other day. Somebody just like was giving this away for free. The Essential Rice Cookbook. Oh man, it's got some killer recipes in here. I'm gonna be trying some of that out with my girlfriend this next weekend. It's gonna be awesome.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I'll bet. But
I love getting a new cookbook.
You're kind of a chef. You good at cooking.
I manage.
Yeah,
I'm able to take what's on the page and put it on a plate, if that's what you mean.
I can't even do that. I just microwave.
oh,
Strictly microwave.
you poor man. Like
Well,
Oh, man.
my wife could cook though, so that's what saves me. But
well, there you go. There
Yeah.
you go. You at least have at least someone in your house can cook.
exactly.
Like we're talking. One of my more brilliant ideas was basically
God damn it.
mini shepherd's pie. Now, mind you, shepherd's pie is not supposed to have a crust. All right, but for the sake of what I was trying to do, I went ahead and I took basically Grand's pull apart biscuits.
Mhm.
Like he put it in muffin tins, sprayed it down, then put in my meat that I cut up, my veggies, things like that, and gravy and everything, and then topped it off with the mashed potatoes, stuck it in the oven. Oh my god!
You know what would be really good is if you take like the whole shepherd's pie thing and then you wrap it in phyllo pastry, and you bake that, and then you can just take that and dip it in gravy. Yum.
Ooh, that is a good idea.
See, I know what I'm doing. I've got good ideas.
This is
You
Comics
need to
Gate.
release a cookbook.
Yeah, this is Comicsgate. A bunch of fat kids who love their food.
I'm trying to find some reference for new She-Ra. Not,
God.
not very easy.
Okay.
Not a lot of people like it, so not a lot of people are putting up pictures of it.
Gee, I wonder why. And,
Yeah.
like, all I gotta say is to all the the various lewd artists out there, go to town. It pisses off the creators to no end. Go to town. Have all the fun. All of it. Literally. All of it. I want to see these guys so triggered, and I'm not even a She-Ra fan. I was never a big She-Ra or He-Man fan. I just like seeing SJWs get triggered because
Because they're horrible people.
Well, come on. They are, it's one of those, they like to talk about how when they warp our characters and we get butthurt and whatnot, so payback's a bitch, motherfucker.
Isn't what's the purple one that they made fat? Is Spinnerella
Glimmer.
or?
Oh, there's two of them. There's Glimmer and there's Spinnerella.
Okay, so is it cultural appropriation if a skinny person cosplays as Spinnerella?
Yes.
I hope so. I hope so.
And hold up, let me go back to the chat because some of these are gold. Let's be
Damn,
honest.
I think Twitter might be the best possible place to find this stuff. Oh, wait, I haven't tried Pinterest yet.
But
Oh, I worry about having that on my Pinterest.
let's see. Give me a sec. All right. Basically, everyone talking about the shepherd's pie. I've been talking about sorting long boxes. DC fans like, I'll sort in quotes. Read some for you. And then he's like Bob Jones pro Rule 34. Yes, but it pisses off SJWs who like to sit there and twist, warp, and destroy everything beautiful. Yes, I will gladly see their creations destroyed and made into, basically Rule 34. Because you know what? I want to see them cry and then dip the shepherd's pie in phyllo dough that animator Josh was talking about in the gravy of their tears.
Well, that's what's
I'm smelling what you're selling.
that's what's so that's why Rainbow Brute is such a great idea, because it's basically taking all those girls' properties and doing what they've been doing to boys' properties and just turning them masculine. So give them a taste of their own medicine.
I'm doing something similar with Help Becky Smash as well. I've been writing that the last few days, working on that a little bit, trying to get the outline finished.
Is that's a comic project or animation? What's that?
Yeah, that's a comic project that I'm working on.
Awesome.
And real quick, DC Fans United, Rule 63 is not gay as long as it involves the Super Crown. That's the only way it's not gay. The only way.
I'm afraid to ask what Rule 63 is.
That's when you gender swap the characters.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's why I said it has to. It's only not gay when you involve the Super Crown. That's the only way it is not gay.
So basically, Bowsette.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Does Bowsette have a wiener? That's
No.
all I need to know. Okay, good.
because Bowsette is entirely. Bowsette is Peach.
Well, I guess, yeah. And then,
So,
does Bowser have a wiener? That's the real question.
well, he is male, but he's a lizard. So, do lizards?
Lizards have wieners.
Yeah.
I'd imagine.
Yeah, but still, like I had to. I'm a fan of Bowsette just because it's hilarious. All the art that came out from it. Like I have one picture that was a dude going to a door that had the Twitter logo on it and it said my timeline. He goes to open it and then a tank with Bowsette on top of it comes bursting through. I laughed my ass off, and that's when I officially became a fan of Bowsette.
I like the Bowsette thing, but it seems to have died down quite a bit.
Yes.
Yeah, it finally cooled down. It's interesting what things go viral like that, because I don't know. I feel like people gender swap characters all the time. I don't know why that particular one went so crazily viral, but
I think it's like ProZD or something like that is the guy's name. I like his video about it where he's like talking about how they were going to do a Switch port of Super Mario Wii U or whatever. And they were going to call it Deluxe. Then he's like, hey, the pink mushroom thing, Peachette. Yeah. Or, Peachette. Let's give her a new power-up, a crown thingy. She turned into, Peach or whatever, whatever the character's name. We'll call it Peachette. That's how that came about. And he's like, okay. And then you hear this like, ah! He's like, what the fuck was that? It's the internet alarm, sir. Yeah, what do you mean the internet alarm? It goes off whenever, the internet makes something fucky. What do you mean? It's a mushroom. You can't, it's not her. It's Bowser. It's Bowser with the crown. And, that is pretty fucky. Yes, sir. They're going to town with the fan art. Always the fan art. So, technically, it'd be Peachhauser. And the dude just kind of looks at him. What? Well, it's because it's, Bowser and Peach. So it'd be Peachhauser instead of Bowser. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. You're part of the problem.
Okay. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm just trying to find this reference. It's so hard. Nobody loves these characters. They're so hated universally.
I don't blame you. Like, I'm glad you're having problems because that means, if you were finding it easily, my faith in humanity would die.
Well, technically, that show is critically acclaimed, so must not be that bad, right?
Yeah, but who gives a shit about critics these days? Critics this day and age are so far removed from the actual audience. Like they're not even on the same planet.
Yeah, I mean it's all politics. Like, can you imagine if one of these mainstream critics actually gave that show a bad review? They'd lose their job. Their career would be over. They have to act like it's the greatest thing ever because it's all politically motivated.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's as bad as it sounds. You're actually
Yippers!
But like for me, I still say the prime example, like the big awakening moment for everyone that critics are politically motivated and things of such was when The Last Jedi came out, and The Last Jedi had all these rave reviews, and you see the viewer review going down, 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 down. Woo-hoo-hoo. I had to. Because of how, I think last time I checked, it was still at 48%.
Yeah, well, and that's with an obviously coordinated campaign to upvote it.
Mm-hmm. Because, the SJWs can't just admit that they're NPCs and that nobody likes their shit.
Yeah, they can't admit failure. If they do, they seem weak.
But they're we're talking about individuals who are so involved with the soy that they have no choice but to be weak. Weak, handsy Lilymen who talk about how the reticuloid overlords are finally going to give them that reach around that they so desperately crave.
God, Glimmer has to be the worst of all the characters.
Like I said, I'm not at all surprised. I mean, and I stand by it's because of the fact that the male feminists that agree with this and things that and such, let's be honest, most of them didn't have a dad around, so they blame their dad and they blame masculinity or this and the other, and so it's like, well, Dad, you didn't love me enough, so now I'm going to be a lily man soy boy, and I'm going to destroy what masculinity means, all because my dad didn't give me a hug when I was 5.
Yeah, well, that's why I think we should do a campaign of all of the She-Ra characters doing the OK symbol.
That's actually not a bad plan. I like that.
Yeah,
That would definitely be a hate crime.
Yeah, you guys, we gonna get me started on this She-Ra
it's
thing.
an OK crime.
It's really disturbing to see how they're doing these characters. Like, I think every single one of them is a homosexual. Like, not saying anything about, negative towards homosexuals, but even them, they are not going to be happy with this false representation.
Oh.
Oh,
yeah, and they're acting like there are not gay guys out there that, unless they told you, you would never know. You know what I mean?
That's probably most gay guys. Imagine.
It's like, not every gay guy is a card-carrying drag queen or, you know what I mean, overly effective.
Well, that's not how the left would like to make you think.
Like, come on.
Just lump them all into the same crowd.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Is the fact that they would rather like, to me, I think that's the bigger crime, is the way they're misrepresented, you know what I mean? Like, you do realize that people are allowed to be a bit, different.
Getting M&Ms.
But just because their quote-unquote sexuality is that way doesn't mean that they are going to be, like I said, overly effeminate or not going to know how to do things like change a tire. They don't need the strong woman to help them out. Oh no, I still say the best one. I love it, and it's an old one, but where this one woman on like Facebook or Twitter was talking about how gay guys are basically being gay is what's up, Zach? But being gay is like what is it? Oh damn it! It's discrimination against women.
It was only a matter of time.
It's like, have we reached the point of woke where they are literally going after gay guys for not wanting to sleep with women?
Yes.
That's
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds about right.
yeah, that's the first I'm hearing of that, but you know what? That was probably inevitable.
Like, this is why, on the one hand, I have a little bit of hope for the future, because maybe, just maybe, people are not so like, people will wake up and be like, man, I'm just being a little too woke and need to pull back my virtuosity, and maybe I am an NPC. I mean, it's not gonna.
Yeah, maybe you are. No, I know you're not an NPC, Bob.
It's like, oh god, like I know, I got what you were saying.
Can an NPC become sentient? That is the question.
No.
Orange Man bad. No, this one dude I found on YouTube, I think his name's like John Ward. He does politics and whatnot. And he put out this song, the Orange Man Bad, and oh my god, it's hilarious. Yeah. Decent Vans is even like, I saw that too on the Twitter. Like, either way, I find it's kind of mind-numbingly just stupid. It's why can't we just enjoy things? Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Star Wars, Star Trek, comic books, video games. Just saying.
Because you're a cis white male, that's why.
Yeah, pretty much.
The only
not for you.
category that you're allowed to be racist against.
But let's see. Spork just posted peak wokeness. These people don't know the meaning of stop. They will keep showing their depth of their depravity. I kind of agree. It's like I said earlier, these guys are the quickest ones to sit there and equate everything back to, like I said, Freudian ideologies. I stand by Freud was the worst thing that ever happened to our society because he just reduced everything down to, oh, well, you're either not having enough nocturnal emissions or... basically that's just what everything boiled down to.
Yeah, Freud was kind of a creep, wasn't he?
Uh-huh. Also had an extreme Oedipus complex.
Oedipus.
Yes, thank you. Oedipus.
More of a young guy myself.
Oh,
Carl Jung.
but
Oh, I thought you were saying about women.
I mean, either way, I mean, it's frustrating. Like I said, why can't we have nice things anymore?
Yeah, I think we've just kind of reached the point where people, I don't know, I don't even get like outraged or surprised at anything like NPCs do. It's just like, yep, okay, I expect that now. Like, just you're gonna make everything weird. You're gonna complain about everything. Go ahead and just do it. We're gonna do our own thing over here. You have fun with that.
Yeah, but that's the problem. You know what I mean? We will try to do our own thing, and then they'll be like, "What you got going on over here?"
Yep.
Well, yeah, I mean, Comicsgate is a prime example of that. They say, "Oh, well, if you don't like it, then make your own comics." And then he did, and it was successful. And then because it was successful, then they got all upset.
Yep.
That's when they were just like, "Oh, we can't have this."
Mm-hmm. Because once again, it proves that their ideology is exactly that, just ideology, and in no way, shape, or form actually something that people want to read or see or hear or deal with. They just want to, like, people want to be left alone. That's it. Let us do our thing. Let us enjoy something. But no, that's we can't have that because that's you know what I mean. That's sexist, racist, misogynistic, and any other ism that they can throw in there and just make a buzzword salad.
Salad.
Yeah, too bad it's not good. Too bad it's just, oh God, this is the worst ever. This isn't. I can handle a salad. This is like a salad made of pure shit, and you're being forced to eat it.
Indeed.
Mecha's all like, these losers need to get a life. I agree. I really do. But either way, I think I'm done on the news. Because let's just be honest. There's only so much. Like, I do news every day. I'm really trying to enjoy not doing news. But unfortunately,
yeah, it gets depressing seeing, I see, headlines and stuff, but I don't really follow the news as much as I used to, just because, I don't know, it wears you down seeing all these, all the crap that's going on in the world. It's just.
Mm-hmm.
The news is trash.
That's why I try to focus on just, creating stuff.
Yeah.
Even
I agree.
When we're on here talking about the news, I'm creating a thing.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I'm trying to put away groceries while we're doing this. So if you guys hear rummaging sounds in the background, sorry.
We'll just boot you from the chat.
Delete me.
Be like, screw you, Ninja. You're gone. But
do it. No, I'm joking.
But now, that's like, I guess that's part of the reason why people want me to start doing my daily, the triggering as Bob Jones. They're like, if you're gonna subject us to the news, at least give us a good laugh while we're doing it.
Just wait until YouTube finds out about you. The fact that you're even remotely Alex Jones-esque in your delivery will probably get you banned.
Yeah.
Last night, oh my god, we did a stream and we maxed it out.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we maxed out the stream last night.
How do you mean maxed out? Like, what do you mean?
It means YouTube shut us off.
Oh, really? Oh, so it's like
Yeah.
a timing thing. So like you went over 8 hours or something like that, or 10 hours.
Yep. Max you can do is 8.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. It used to be like I think it was like 10, 11 hours. Now it's 8.
Yeah, because I remember there used to be some people would have like 24-hour streams.
Yeah, I think it should be if you're willing to go that long, you should be allowed to do it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if people want to watch, sure.
Yeah, it was funny at the closer towards the end, we started getting views again. I started getting the viewer count back.
Yeah, because people are waking up.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I got up this morning and saw your tweet in the chat, and I was like, or your comment in the chat, and I was like, they were still going? I was up bed at like 10. And
Yeah, I don't think server space or anything would be an issue for YouTube, considering they've got. I mean, they're basically Google, so.
yeah, well, being the fact that you kind of have like how you have a bit of a consumer revolt on the whole comic side, there's kind of a bit. It's slow starting, but there's a bit of a consumer revolt against Google now because people are starting to see Google for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, I've been using DuckDuckGo as my search engine for quite some time now.
mm-hmm.
I don't want Google knowing what I'm looking at.
Yeah, that's exactly.
They are tyrannical.
I mean, come on, they're helping like them, Facebook and whatnot. They're helping China in their efforts to be more totalitarian, and it's like, okay, you know what? I can't support you. Like, the only reason why I still use YouTube for my channel and everything is because, quite frankly, you don't really have like you can't really stream on BitChute yet. They're getting there. They are getting there.
Yeah.
Can you stream on Twitch?
You can, but
there's nobody watching Twitch.
Exactly. Not like YouTube and whatnot.
I can't stand Twitch.
Aren't they pretty strict about,
Tycade likes to be on Twitch, but I don't like Twitch all that much.
They shut people down pretty easily, though, right? Like, they're pretty strict.
Mm-hmm. They are. Yeah. I know I'm planning on starting to do some Bob Jones gaming. And I was like, but I don't feel like setting up Twitch again, especially since I want to create, like, my Twitch account was just for my old handle, Bob Dolbot.
Speaking of gaming, guys, I just did my first bit of gaming on my PS4 today in like well over 3 months.
Wow. What were you playing?
That crappy God of War game. What a piece of shit.
Boy.
Which one's that? The one with his son or whatever?
Yeah. Fucking garbage.
See, now, is it really that bad? Because that one seemed kind of interesting to me, considering, it gives me that father aspect to the game or whatever.
Well, the story and stuff is really good. The gameplay is really good. The problem is the difficulty scaling. That's where it absolutely and completely shits the bed. And when I say shit the bed, I mean like you gotta get a new bed. From like that bed's getting thrown out.
What does it go from like ridiculously easy to insanely hard?
Goes from ridiculously easy to virtually impossible.
Oh.
That's the difficulty scaling. I hate it. But I'm determined to get through it eventually.
So it's like, walk through it or don't beat the first level type of deal.
Yeah, well, it's basically like there's these kind of side quests. I don't even know if they are side quests. They might actually be like part of the main story for all I know. But there's these Valkyries, and you have to kill them, and it is insanely difficult. Like to the point where I'm just like the first time, like the reason I haven't gamed in so long is because of this game, because it was so stupidly difficult that I was just like, this stopped being fun ages ago, and I just moved on to anything else. And yeah, it's just unforgiving. And then as soon as you start to have fun, you run into a Valkyrie, and then it stomps you into the ground in like half a second. You don't even get a chance to figure out its pattern before you're dead. You know, you don't get a chance before you're just stomped into the ground. I can't stand that nonsense. But yeah, that's my brief rant against garbage game.
Oh yeah, and then you have.
Hey, what system do you have there, Josh? You got a 360 or a 360 or an Xbox One?
PS4. It's God of War.
Yeah, I know, but I'm asking you if you have any of the other systems.
Oh, yeah, I have a bunch of systems, but the PS4 is pretty much the only one that I use. That and the Sega Genesis.
Well, I'm thinking about starting to game again, just because I'm talking to some of those guys from the Needle Mover Society, and they're big gamers.
Yeah,
but I think they play on the Xbox One or the PS4. So I got to think of something to play with them, or get something to play with them, or you guys. Or I want to kind of play that Creativerse, but I have a shit ass computer and I don't want to play it on that.
On my server, if you can't really enjoy it, especially with all the everything I've done. Yeah. No, actually, the funny thing is, right now, all right, mind you, heavily
I'll fix it
modded.
later.
Heavily modded, okay. I'm playing through Skyrim again. So what does that say?
It says that
You say
like
you're playing Skyrim? That's funny. I gave my copy of Skyrim to my best friend, and now he's addicted. That's all he wants to do now is play freaking Skyrim. Don't get me wrong, I love Skyrim. But now it's his only every waking moment.
Oh.
Gotta get back to freaking Skyrim. But it's a good game.
It's been when did Skyrim come out? I feel like it's been a while.
Yeah, like 2016?
No,
oh, it's 2011.
Yeah, so
goddamn!
Does that mean we'll be getting a new Elder Scrolls at some point? Because
I think
they made some, but they suck.
Yeah, I know they
the
have
new
the
ones for the
online,
Xbox Ones are trash.
Well, that's what they did. They re-released this one with special edition and whatnot. But remember, at E3 over the summer, they did announce that they're finally going to start working on Elder Scrolls 6. So, but
not just re-releasing the same game over and over and over again on every platform.
Yeah.
Like they have been doing.
But no, like I said, I heavily modded. Like I have the Warhammer 40k Space Marine armor that my guy is using and running around with while I'm carrying Comlac.
Okay.
Ninja,
Sorry.
I think you're gonna have to mute when you're not talking because that is exceptionally noisy, and I doubt that the audience is liking that.
Yeah, sorry about
Whatever
that.
it is you're doing, it sounds like you're tearing apart cardboard. And...
Not a lot of groceries.
No.
all right?
Yeah, we went to Sam's Club today.
Gotta stock up the fridge.
Nice.
Yeah.
But,
Winter's coming.
Exactly. Exactly. But no, so like I said, Warhammer 40k Space Marine armor. Trying to remember what all the various mods I got. Like one of the mods I got gives the Hearthstone house that's in the center of the map, gives it a full wall around it and everything, plus its own little like mine. Oh, I have a fuck ton. Like I can now build my own city once I get around to doing that. I'm just kind of right now. I'm scaling High Hrothgar. Not gonna talk to the Greybeards, but well, I might get that mission out of the way. But scaling High Hrothgar, and let's see, check chat real quick. DC fan says, "By the sound of it, you need to get good there, Josh."
Oh no! I'm quite competent when it comes to gaming, but
I knew someone was going to say that though.
this, yeah, I know it always comes up because of NPC brains. Sometimes they just they can't help themselves. No, the problem is the scaling. Like you like a good game, and I'm not talking about just gaming in general. I mean a good game scales their difficulty appropriately. You know, it's got to gradually increase in difficulty. It's not. It's supposed to be like, you know, like a pleasant roller coaster where it's got these little, you know, little kind of curves like that, but it's steadily going up, right?
Hmm.
But with God of War, here, I'll could you focus on me for a second?
Give me one sec, because since I'm playing this on PC, and I have to kind of be careful about how I do this.
So
there you go.
So a good game has this kind of difficulty spike. That's how it goes. It'll go a little up, a little down, a little up, a little down, but it'll gradually go up. God of War kind of has a difficulty curve like this. And that's not good. That is not how a good game should scale their difficulty. That's garbage. They should patch that. They should fix that because it's so fucking stupid. I just every time I play that game, like I'll get a little further, but then like it'll just put me into these stupid Valkyrie things. I just spent like most of the day playing the Helheim, where you're climbing the tower and you're doing all these little challenge maps. And then I'm getting through it. I'm doing pretty good. You know, I got I've been getting pretty much all of them on the first try, except for maybe one. No, except for exactly one. And then I get to the top. I'm like, yeah, this is nice. You know, finally it's got like a little more of a gradual difficulty curve. Now I'm getting to the top of the mountain, and it's a Valkyrie. I'm just like, oh fuck my ass. This is bullshit. And then I walk in, I attack her. She stomps me into the ground in like 5 seconds flat. And I'm just like, yeah, no, we're done.
Yeah, I'm such a casual gamer. Like I like a little bit of a challenge, but I don't want to be like completely so frustrated that I'm throwing my controller at the TV.
Right, that's not fun. Like
Yeah,
games
it's
are
not.
games are meant to be fun. If they're not fun, it's a bad game. This isn't fun.
No, I'll admit it. The I guess you could say the nice thing about TVs going to, you know, the flat screen model and all this and the other is you think twice about throwing that controller. You really do.
Oh, I've never thrown a controller.
These new TVs can't take a beating like the old ones. That's for sure.
The last controller I threw, Dead Rising. It had just come out. Me and a buddy of mine sitting there were playing it. Finally got through to the 4th day. You know what I mean? Just having fun. I'm finally at that last boss, fighting the dude on the tank, dying. And after about 2 hours, 3 hours of just dying in the most stupidest of ways. Each time, I finally hit that like pure rage moment. And I'm sitting there thinking like most, you know, the classic Xbox controllers were tanks. You could throw those things, they disconnect from the system because they had the breakaway thing. So, all right, you could pick them up, they'd still work. So I chucked my controller at my TV, and I was livid, motherfucker. My homeboy sitting next to me, just going through my Oblivion strat guide because he was wanting to check some things out for his character and whatnot. I was like, whatever. And the controller hits the screen, bounces off and barely misses his head by like a half inch because he hears the ping, looks up, and barely gets out of the way in time.
Too bad you weren't filming. Could have had a viral video on your hands.
Right? But after that, like, the controller was fucked, dude. Oh my god, that controller was fucked. After that, I stopped throwing controllers because I was like, all right, I'm down to one Xbox 360 controller, and this is when they were brand new. Like, the 360, like I said, this is let's see, August 2006. So it hadn't even been out a full year yet. So those controllers are still expensive, and good luck finding a used one.
I just don't understand why you would ever throw your controller at the screen. I mean,
you throw your control. I never threw a controller at the screen. I only threw a controller one time. That was because of Bob Burnquist from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater something or other. I was trying to freaking do the loop and do my special while I was going through the loop, and it was about 10 times, 20 times. I said enough of this, and I smashed my controller on the floor, and I was like, I guess I need to put this back together now. I didn't whip it at the TV, but yeah, I bounced that sucker right off the floor.
Is that an N64 controller or PS2?
It was a PS2 controller.
Nice.
The only thing I've ever thrown my controller at is the bed. Because it can take it.
Yeah,
nice,
I don't think...
A nice soft surface that it's not going to be too offensive.
But,
I've never thrown it at the TV, thankfully, but yeah.
No, I will be the first to admit, it's not my brightest moment, but it was one of the, and it's only like that was the last time, but it was only like the second or third time I've ever thrown a controller. A game has ever made me so mad to throw a controller. Alright? But it was just, I had hit that point. I lived in an apartment complex, so I couldn't yell, scream, and carry on, whatnot. And I needed an instant, like, I could say out for all that rage and aggression. So I threw my controller and instantly regretted it.
Mm-hmm. That's what happens when you throw your controller. You instantly regret it.
So
every time. Must be calm.
Oh yeah, no. Like I said, I'm not saying I'm proud of it. I'm saying I regret it, but at the same time, I'm just like, it happens. Live and learn.
Indeed.
There's no point to get mad about it now. And, no point to get mad about it after the fact, because I should have known better in the first place. I did know better, because the time before that I threw a controller was back during the Super Nintendo days, and I broke a turbo controller doing that. Oh, what does that say?
That says, stop throwing your controllers.
Sometimes you just gotta let out the rage.
Yeah, but you don't do it on stuff that costs money. That's just crazy to me.
Oh, dude.
It costs money. Controllers in particular, like especially like nowadays, like the PlayStation controller and like the Xbox controller, they're like $80, like damn near a console in themselves.
Oh, I know. Like I said, I'm not saying I'm proud of it. I'm just saying I did it. And like I said, I thought they were like the, old original Xbox controllers that could handle it. Because the original Xbox controllers, you could throw them. I saw a buddy of mine embed one in a wall, and he pulled it out. Everything still worked, plugged it back in, and got back to playing.
Yeah, those original Xbox controllers, they were freaking huge.
They were tanky. You could do that with them and not have.
Plus, they still had the cord, right? So it's like the modern controllers, they just fall apart because they have the battery packs. But yeah, those old school controllers were pretty durable.
No. Yeah, I mean, after I smashed my PlayStation controller on the floor and put it back together, it still worked.
All right.
That was the nice thing about that stuff back in the day is you could take your Sega Genesis apart, clean it, and put it back together, and it would work better. You could do that with a Nintendo. You could do that with your Super Nintendo. If I'm not
So-
mistaken, you might have been able to do it with the PS1.
So were you guys Sega or Nintendo?
Nintendo.
Nintendo.
Both. I didn't have a preference. Just I enjoyed the games that were on both consoles. I mean, there were certain
Oh
ones
no,
you
I mean
couldn't
like
play.
which ones did you own?
Oh, I
growing
owned
up?
both. Yeah.
Oh wow, rich kid.
No.
Yeah, I never
Well,
owned anything Sega.
I grew up with the Sega. That was my jam. But I had friends with like Nintendos, N64s, all that stuff. So there was always a way to play the other stuff. That was the nice thing about back in those days, because we could just go over to a friend's house. You can't do that as an adult anymore.
Mhm.
Or
Yeah,
you
really.
can, but it's a hell of a lot more rare.
Right. And
Like
chat
trying to get a friend over to your house, like just to hang out, just to play video games, to cook, to do anything really. It's a struggle and a half. It's all, scheduling conflicts and all that jazz.
Oh yeah. Oh, got a train going by there, Ninja. But now chat is now making me try to, like, I know I have it somewhere hereabouts, but now I gotta. I'm looking for my copy of Diablo 2 because Zach and DC. It's like yeah. Now I got to play some Diablo 2 here. So,
Back when Diablo was good.
I liked 3.
3 is it was okay, almost. It's okay when you're actually able to play it. If you don't have a good internet connection, you're not playing it anytime soon.
Very
That was always my biggest issue with it, because I had it for the first year it was out and I couldn't play it at all because my internet wasn't good. It would lag like crazy. It would have all kind of errors that it would give me if like my internet wasn't fast enough at that particular point in time. Just awful.
And to answer your question, DC, Necromancer. That is my shit.
I was all about that barbarian.
Well, I mean, when you're a Necromancer, you just sit back, relax, have a pack of smokes, let your skeletons do everything, and all your minions and everything. You sit back and, yes, do the work, my minions. I'm going to be back here having a coffee break.
Indeed.
Yeah,
I like getting into the thick of things and just Hulk smashing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, same here. I usually go for just the straight up melee characters, but when I played through Diablo 3 the first time, I went for Demon Hunter since it was a new class, and that was pretty fun. But the second time I played through, I definitely went for Barbarian.
I'm hoping it's in my Warcraft 3 battle chest box because I tried to keep them all together. Keyword tried. I might have to actually go out to the storage and find it out there because it's not amongst my other games. And go figure, what's funny?
So, my fellow gamers, how excited are you for Diablo Immortal?
That's funny. As if anybody is.
Oh man, that whole thing was pretty entertaining, though.
Wait.
Indeed.
I don't think I should actually be able to do that. Hold on. Didn't I link it to my Battle.net account?
So this Diablo Immortal, this is just for the phone. What is it? Diablo 3 for the phone?
No, it's. I don't even think it's even remotely Diablo 3-ish. I think it's supposed to be like Diablo 2.5 with like, Zach Hawkins says 3 is heresy. They took out the stat points. Quick allowed you to truly. The stat points quick allowed you to truly build a character. So many awesome ways to play 2. 3's just like, here's all the skills on the tree. Have fun. No planning needed. And DC fans said ban Immortal. Diablo with the microtransactions is immortal.
The sad thing is,
You know
Blizzard's gonna make a shitload of money off of that game. like business wise, it makes sense, but
It's
man,
a
it just killed their reputation.
Oh yeah, it did. Well, what do you expect? They got bought out by Activision, and look at what happened to Bungie as soon as they partnered up and were pretty much allowed Activision to be their main distributor. Activision pretty much took what you call it, Destiny, the original Destiny, and turned it into a pay-to-win type deal. Well, not pay-to-win, but it turned it into a bank for them, a piggy bank for them, more or less, where they, if you want all the expansions, you have to buy them, this, that, and the other. And it was that's not what gaming should be about. Gaming, like, and that was what Bungie didn't like about Microsoft. So,
Well, that's what I was saying, is that gaming should be about fun. If it's not fun, you're failing.
yeah. Like, I shouldn't, like, the thing that really irritates me, and like, I've been starting to play later DC. Sad Panda said that you got to go. But no, the thing that I guess you could say really irritated me about the Heroes and Generals, which is what I've been playing a lot on basically lately on PC and everything, is it's really pay to winish.
I'm not a big fan of that stuff. I just I really feel like those kind of pay to win games should be illegal. I mean, it's straight up gambling.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree.
It's like gambling if you paid the owner of the casino to let you win. it's just weird. I mean,
wow.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever like done an actual microtransaction for any game. Like, I'm so cheap. Like, any of those free to play games, I'll just play the bare minimum. Like, I'll never buy anything. And just I mean, some of those games are like you can play through them without buying anything, but obviously it's just not as good. But that's why I just prefer single player, to be honest, because
Same.
I just like to be in my own little world and play the game. Plus, you know, playing people online, it's like I can't compete with like these hardcore gamers that are just gonna freaking kill me every single time. Like, I like to go at my own pace.
Oh, that always gets my goat too. Is the people that spend like all day, every day playing these games and getting so good at them that you're just like, okay, I can't last 2 seconds with you. Congratulations, you've made multiplayer completely unfun.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not just that. It's, for instance, like, okay, PUBG. Friends got it for me. I loved it at first. Playing the fuck out of it, was having fun, and if anybody in my gaming group is going to find the hackers, the guys that just refuse to play fair, it's going to be me.
I'm not even talking about hackers. I'm just talking about people who spend all their time getting good at it.
That doesn't bother me.
It bothers me because, like, if you're just starting out, you know, and these people have been playing a game for like several years, and they're so good at it that you're just like, okay, well, I can't do anything.
Well, I think they're getting better at filtering that, though, because now, you know, playing online, it a lot of games now will like rank you by whether you're a beginner or not, so they won't put you in a server with like the people that are ranked super high. I think Halo does that, but that's the way it should be, honestly.
Oh yeah. Well, for me, it's always been about when I get basically when I run into those people, that is for me. I guess you could say I need to get good moment, and that's what I try to do. I try to get better. I try to be a better gamer and whatnot.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't have the time for that. A lot of people have full-time jobs, side projects, other hobbies, and if you buy a game, you know, that's money that you've invested into it as well. You know, you get you get home, you want to relax and play a game, and all you get is, oh, I'm dead. Oh, I'm dead again. Oh, I'm dead.
Well,
it's been
plus,
30 seconds. I'm dead.
how are you supposed to know if they're just really good at the game or if they actually did hack the thing and like have like auto aim and stuff like that? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I completely. That's the part where I get mad. Is where you can tell, because generally you can tell. Like, I've had people do complete, literal 180. I'm sneaking up behind them, and then all of a sudden they snap to a 180 and hit me with a headshot, and I'm dead. And it's like, okay, that's obvious aimbot. Obviously, you knew I was behind you because you got the various mods that let you know where everyone is on the map and things like that. I've seen it happen, and I won't call hacks without doing research to make sure that there are hacks that do what it looks like you're doing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I can't deal with that whole world. I don't know. I'm such a noob. Just a filthy casual.
The worst was when I was playing Call of Duty one time. Was it Call of Duty? Yeah, I think so. It was Call of Duty. And I got the drop on a guy. I had a full clip, unloaded the entire clip into him from behind, like in the back of his head, and then he turns around and shoots me one time with a pistol, and I die.
Yeah, that's some mods right there.
all right. Yep.
Yeah, I fucking hate Call of Duty because of that shit. Because, yeah, I love when you unload your entire clip into somebody and you're like, why are they not down? And you get one-shotted.
Mm-hmm.
That's bullcrap. There definitely should be some sort of, I don't know if there's a way to ban that shit, but that's ridiculous.
They normally do when, like, if enough people complain, like, single somebody out for obvious, being a cheater, they will be able to ban that person. And if the person is actually that good, they can go through the process to improve that they're not cheating. But if they actually are, most of the time these guys have multiple accounts anyway. They'll just switch. They'll basically just switch to a different account.
You can't really hack the console games though, right?
Yeah, you can. There's people who are doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen it firsthand. 360 games where you were seeing people on the console that were, like, we're talking. I heard of one guy who literally was playing through, and this is not me, buddy of mine was playing, then he told me about it from a match he was on. He was playing Call of Duty, I was playing Reach. He switched over to Reach saying, fuck Call of Duty, because of this. He's going through, playing the match, and this dude just kept on one-shotting people, then threw out a grenade that he just threw up in the air, and it killed everyone on the enemy team. Like, just a regular grenade.
Damn.
And I was like, wait, you
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, I was like, wait, you're kidding me? He's like, no, I just threw out a grenade. Dude just threw out a grenade, and you saw it in the kill cam. It killed everybody on the team, and they won the game. I was like, holy shit.
I think it's stuff like that, which is a big reason why I've just not been doing games a lot. Just these really bad, like, difficulty spikes, like people cheating, pay to win. Like, they really do. Like, the industry really does seem to be trying everything it can to take all of the fun out of the industry.
Well, it goes.
Yeah.
At the same time, you have two extremes within the gaming industry. The, like, hyper capitalists that think that everything that you do in the game should be basically you need to buy even though you've already bought the game. And then you have the hyper identitarian Marxists who think that everything should preach at you and make it to where you don't want to play the game in the first place.
No, that's not hyper capitalist. That's predatory.
Well, I
don't see that as capitalist at all, because you're not, like, when you're saying, like, oh, you have to buy everything if you want to win, after you've bought the game, like, that's That's just unethical.
Well, another way to look at it is, wasn't back in the day the arcade? You'd have to put in your coins to keep playing. That's like the original microtransaction.
Yeah, but that's different.
Yeah, you're paying to play, right?
Yes, but you're paying to play in a public space, and I think the whole point of the whole quarter system, or at least what I always kind of saw the quarter system as, is a way to keep it so that way to make it so that like other people get a turn. Because back then it wasn't so much about, there were some predatory factors in that as well, for sure. Like there's no two ways about that. But for the most part, it was relatively fair because as long as you had the money, you could play. As long as you could play, you could win. As long as you were good, and it took practice. But like you could be casual with it. You didn't have to be like perfect just to be able to have like the slightest amount of fun.
I wonder, does anybody know like what the average like arcade goer like back in the 80s, like I wonder how much they spent on like a single game.
Oh my god, dude.
Wasn't much for me.
Yeah, but it's like the really like hardcore ones, because it's like now like, okay, a game's $60 at least, but I mean for a single game back in the day, like an arcade game, they probably spent more than that like over the course of however long.
It really depends on the game. It really depends on the game, because a friend and I went and we played the X-Men arcade game. That awesome.
Yes.
Oh yes. I have that
6-player game.
Hell yeah.
So good.
You can get that on Xbox Live.
I have it.
For your me too.
I have almost all of the trophies for that. Or achievements. But I can't get a full group of 6 people. That's like one of the achievements. It's like play with 6 people.
Oh yeah, I hate those achievements that you have to interact with other humans. Like
I hate any achievements that require the playing of multiplayer.
Yeah, because you got to count on someone else to do it. It was like there was this one game, like one of the achievements, like you had to give someone a gift in the game. It's like, what the hell? Why is that an achievement?
Yeah.
Real quick, Zach Hawkins, paying to rent a machine is fine by me. Paying to get the full version of a game I already bought on a machine I own is no bueno.
And
that's completely understandable
and reasonable.
Like it's one of those. I don't know. Then again, it's part of the reason why I never played Battlefront or Battlefront 2, the new ones. Like I have classic Battlefront 2. I have it on my Steam account, but the new one, nope. I heard that the new ones were pretty much pay to win and so on and so forth, and that the second one they pretty much doubled down on it. It's just like, no, I'm good. I'm good.
Plus, with all like the DLC nowadays, like that's why I never buy a game like when it comes out. Like I'll wait
a year or two.
And then I'll just buy the complete. They'll sell the complete collection with all the DLC included for less than you would have paid, day one. So yeah, I'm more than happy to wait until everything's out.
Not to mention, if it's like a Bethesda game, let's be honest, you gotta wait that long anyway to get all the bugs fixed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get the bugs fixed, you get all the DLC, you get it for a cheaper price.
I mean, I'm not knocking Bethesda. I mean, like I said, I'm playing Skyrim, but it's still one of those. It's pretty ridiculous. It is pretty ridiculous. They do like. A prime example, one of the problems I had with like the original Fallout 3 was how you'd shoot a guy, he'd drop, and then bounce off into oblivion, never to be seen again. Like, wow. Well, bye.
I like glitches. Glitches are fun when you find them, unless they kind of kill your game completely. Then they suck. But when you see something when something happens and it's just like this ridiculous, silly thing, and you're just like, what? those are great.
Best glitch ever is the one where you can get power armor early in the game in Fallout 3.
Mm-hmm.
There's a spot where you can kind of drop through the map, and you can go over to where the Brotherhood of Steel live and talk to the leader of the Brotherhood of Steel, and he'll be like, "Oh, sure, you can have that power armor."
That was a glitch?
Yeah, there's a glitch for that. You can look that one up if you still got it.
That sounds more like a feature almost.
Right.
Yeah, it's nice. It makes the game a lot more fun in the beginning there.
Oh, I believe it.
Also, Josh, I think you need to make your Shira a little bit more in the what do they call that? Buxom? She needs to have bigger tits. Yeah.
Well said.
Let me see what I can do about that later. I'm working on
I'm glad that you took it into consideration.
Always.
But it's still the fact, though, that it's sad that gaming is not what it used to be. So sad.
Oh, I'm kind of interested in this Fallout 76. I heard it's not as interactive as, say, the other Fallouts, but I kind of like the idea of playing against other people in a wasteland.
I like I said,
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything good about it.
yeah, no.
Yeah.
I've been hearing nothing but bad things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Everybody's pretty much all like, you don't want to play this. This is just gonna piss you off.
Yeah, I guess if I'm right in the middle of collecting shit and somebody just randomly blows my brains out, I'm gonna be pissed.
It's not even that. Like, that's part of the game. Like, that's understandable. But what everyone's been talking about is that's the problem with it is it's once again classic Bethesda. Yeah, they'll give you the game you want, but it's like nowhere near ready to be on the market yet. Like, from everything I've heard, it's pretty much they released the game that should have been in production for about another 6 months.
Mm.
Like, that's the best way to describe it, is the fact that they probably should have just kept it in production for another 6-7 months, let it get it complete, and then put it out. But typical Bethesda fashion, put the game out and then fix it later.
Another good reason to wait.
Another good reason not to buy it at all, if you ask me. I don't know. I've never really bought a Fallout game.
Fallout 3 is probably your best bet. If you ever do buy one, it's a good game. It's worth it. It's a long play. It's got good story, good enemies, lots of adventure. It's worth them. It's worth it to go get it now.
Oh yeah, the single player Fallouts are amazing. I still haven't played Fallout 4, but I think.
Oh yeah, me neither.
Yeah,
New Vegas
definitely
was
plan on
super
it, but-
glitchy.
New Vegas. Let me put it to you like this. This to me sums up, Fallout 3 versus New Vegas. Fallout 3 at GameStop, right? Used was still like, for Game of the Year edition.
Yeah.
At the time,
$60.
was still like $25, right?
Oh.
Used, all right. Then Fallout New Vegas Game of the Year edition was like 12, 13.
I never had
Wow.
any issues with New Vegas. I as far as glitches, I enjoyed it. I don't know.
What system were you playing it on?
360.
Huh.
I hated.
I was getting a lot of glitching.
I hated New Vegas. I'm sorry, but when you have maxed out your guns, you're using guns, you have your perception high, all this and the other, and you're still missing every fucking shot. It's like, you know what? I can't even play this game. I can't eat. I understand that they're called sharpshooters for a reason. Yes, they do miss on the super super rare occasion, there are people who literally go to events where they prove that they will not miss at all, and they compete amongst each other, hitting their target every time. And you're telling me that at 5 feet away, I am missing this motherfucker when I have the reticle right on? No, just no. I'm not buying it. Not buying it, Obsidian. Not buying it. This is what you guys
Well,
are just.
I usually play those games like for the story anyway, so I might have just like had it on a really low difficulty, and so that's why I didn't, have any issues like that. Like I probably didn't even notice, like as far as like gameplay mechanics, like I was just going through the story. So as far as I know, I could have had terrible aim, but it didn't matter.
Alright. No, I just. Oh god, no. Zach, don't even play. Don't even play. Like that. Especially when it's like right on their head. Like, Why are you missing every time? Why are you missing every time? Fuck this. I'm out.
We've talked about a lot of stuff that we hate about games. What do we love? Where's the love, guys?
You want to talk about what I love about games? Let's see. Let's see. Like I will admit, games like Creativerse. I love those. Just sit there and spend hours.
Like what?
Creativerse. It's a Minecraft clone.
Oh, never heard of it.
Oh yeah, it's fun. Like it's basically on Minecraft on PC you can get a skin for the whole game called BDcraft, and it makes it real cartoony. Well, Creativerse is kind of like that all the time, except it does its own thing, and you can get like a glider. If you go pro, I should say, like because it's free to play. But if you go pro, spend the $20 for it, you can get a glider, a flashlight, like 1,500 of the coins that you use to get all the extras, like the skin packs and things like that. And it was worth it. Because go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. I was just gonna talk about something I like, but yeah, no. If you're still going, keep going.
I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of just pitching the game, so others should check it out because it's well worth it. Like the prime example, I built a platform that went up to pretty much the top of the ceiling of the game, so I can hop off and glide around the map.
Cool. You know what's one that I really like? That's kind of a how you say, a little bit of an unknown, a little more indie, I suppose, is Earth Defense Force. The Earth Defense Force series. It's so good. It's just.
Is that the one where they're fighting like the giant bugs and stuff?
Yeah, the giant ants and all that.
Like I heard the first one was so bad it was good.
No. The first one was so good it's good. It's just good. Oh man, me and my friend played that all the time. We were trying to get 100%. It's so hard because there's a lot of gambling in it. Like you're just kind of running around collecting the various weapon drops, but they're randomized, so you never know if you're going to get that one that you need to finish all the set or not.
Oh wow!
But it's really good. Well, there's a glimmer. We got a glimmer.
Nice.
Looking much better, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah. Not looking like the wad of cookie dough that it was before. No, and the thing is, I was in a stream and I remember someone mentioning this. How basically superheroes, like they're trying to get all these quote unquote plus size superheroes and all these characters that are supposed to be highly active that are heavy set, and it's like if they're highly active, they wouldn't be heavy set.
But also, people don't want it. The only people that want it are the people that don't spend money on this stuff. Social justice warriors, they don't spend money. That's a fact. It's been proven time and time again. They're always saying, "Oh, we're customers too. We want this." But then the moment you say, "Okay, here you go. That'll be $29.95. Well, I don't have money.
And why are you bitching about it in the first place? If you aren't going to financially back it, then why are you bitching about it?
Exactly.
But like, I think the best way I saw it put was this one picture I have on my computer, where it's like what body positivity should mean. It's like, well, ever since I lost the leg, I got more active and things like that, and now I'm helping little Timmy here get over his horrible burn and become more outgoing. And what the left wants body positivity to mean. Oh, I just want to be able to sit on my ass and eat and not do anything. I don't care what my doctor says about my weight. My diabetes needs to be paid for by the government.
Yeah, and superheroes and any kind of like character like She-Ra or whatever. These are supposed to be aspirational characters. They're supposed to be better than us. They're supposed to. We're supposed to look up to them, and we're not supposed to drag them down to our level and make them, have our human flaws.
Yeah, nobody aspires to be fat. I mean, there are, but those people tend to be. That's a disease. That's a mental disease. Straight up.
Well, and the thing that a lot of people don't really think, like these idiots don't understand, is that they are our modern day Greek mythology. And if you look at the Greek gods, they were these, I guess you could say they were very much the Adonis, types. They were big, larger than life. Zeus is said to be the most handsome man in the universe, and Aphrodite the most beautiful woman that a man had ever laid his eyes on, and things like that. They were designed to be who's breathing into their
I'll give you one guess.
All right. They were meant to represent, the larger than life, the best of the best, I got to use the term Chads, the Chads above all Chads, if you will. You know what I mean?
I do.
That's
and even we were talking earlier about Stan Lee and how he kind of brought the real world to superheroes, but even though Peter Parker, he couldn't pay his rent and he had acne and he had all these like real world issues, like it was told in a realistic way, like a believable way, like these characters that they make fat, like freaking Spinnerella or whatever her name is, they're never going to acknowledge that. Like they're never going to, like, it's not going to be like an issue for her character. She's just going to be morbidly obese and then act like everything's fine and be jumping around with the rest of them, like it's complete delusion. Like, if you want to have fat characters, that's perfectly fine, but do it in an honest way,
Yeah, I agree. Like, I've never had an issue with fat characters. Like, as long as, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, one of my favorite actors growing up was a big fat guy, Chris Farley. I loved his movies; they were hilarious.
Oh yeah.
His being fat didn't stop him also from being really what's the word I'm looking for? Charismatic either. He was very, very charismatic, and he was also very active, but that was because of the cocaine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that was a very unusual thing for a fat guy to be able to do, like cartwheels and all that.
Oh yeah, but no, like Mecca said in chat, the best insult these people can come up with is calling us adult virgins. Natural selection will weed them out eventually, and he's right. Because these are people that, literally will sit there and be like, oh, well, I'm trans, non-binary, which means they're not going to have kids. They're not going to produce anything. They're just going to be stuck in these relationships where they can't figure out what they want to be because they're constantly changing. And, there's a psychology paper that was taken down that was, okay, outcry, quote unquote, caused it to be taken down, where it asked the question, is this resurgent, this rise of trans just a trend where people are, because there's so many people constantly talking about it, and the snowflake culture where everyone has to be different. I mean, I'm sorry, did I miss the days when people like were being different, you know what I mean, was, hey, that means you're goth, or you're a punk, or you know what I mean, you're something in the realm of counterculture. Now the counterculture has become so mainstream, and that it's even engulfed quote unquote sexuality into being counterculture. And if you want to be, your own personal snowflake, you don't want to be like everyone else, you just gotta say, well, I'm trans this and that, and oh, you got to respect my sexuality and this, that, and the other. But in actuality, your only reason why you're doing this is because you want attention. That's all it is. You want attention. You want a reason to sit there and be such a unique little snowflake, and there were people who were trans back in the day, 50, 60 years ago, and you know what? They never got medals. They never got, you know what I mean? But no, now it's supposed to be, oh, well, you're supposed to respect my authority. You're supposed to respect me for this or for that. And if you have any questions, or if you think I'm only doing this because all my friends are doing it, oh, well, you're just a bigot. And that's what that paper pretty much stated, was that generally those who were becoming quote-unquote trans, one or more of their friends had recently come out as trans, and that was part of the decision of how they became that way.
I think there was like a study or something that said like declining empires have a overabundance of like gender, like transsexuals and stuff. That's like a common thing. Like when Rome was when the Roman Empire was falling, they had like trans people everywhere. So it's not necessarily a good sign for us, but
nope.
Yeah.
Well, it's like
that's why we got to fight against that kind of stuff.
Well, and let's be honest, they don't stop. Like every time we go, like we went back in the day, okay, when gay marriage was the hot buzz thing that, oh well.
Even though most people legitimately just did not give a shit.
But
it's like whatever.
But what was the main thing Republicans said? We don't want to give you this because once we give you it, we're going to give you that inch. You're going to take the mile.
Oh, they sure did.
And what did they do? They got that.
They took 10 miles.
Exactly.
Yeah, they talked about the slippery slope, and it turned out to be a freaking waterfall.
Yeah, and it's one of those like, okay, all you did is prove Republicans right, and now you have people on the right. It's like we were talking earlier about how the rise of the far left led to the rise of the far right. It was a reaction because these identitarians on the left thought that they were they got given that inch, and they're like, okay, we won this battle, let's go on to win the war, and let's keep being more and more extreme. We don't care if all we're doing is causing more problems for these exact groups in the long run. And that's the big thing. They don't care. Like, I'm sorry, I don't think these far left Antifa cucks care about gay people. I don't think they care about trans people.
Of course they don't.
They don't care about people of color, because if they did, they would have shut the fuck up a long time ago, because all they have done is hurt them in the long run. You have all like the whole "it's okay to be white" things that you're seeing posted around and you constantly hearing about again. That wouldn't be there if these far left identitarians weren't constantly stating that the worst thing you can be. If you didn't have individuals like Don Lemon referring to white males on his TV show on CNN, broadcast to the whole country, referring to white males as terrorists and this, that, and the other, with zero pushback on his show. I'm sorry, but if you guys want, like, these idiots think, oh, we're winning. No, what you're doing is you're riling up. It's like Boogie said, don't rile up the crazies, and that's what these guys are doing. They're riling up the crazies.
Yeah, I think social justice and Antifa and all that, it really, it's kind of brilliant because it gives psychopaths an excuse to just completely go crazy and be destructive under the guise of being a good person. So it's like they get to let out all their aggression on the world and bring down society. But no, they're on the right side of history. They're doing the right thing. It's like it gives them a free pass to just do whatever the hell they want.
Cuomo will get up there on CNN and be like, oh, well, not all violence is equal, and when you're fighting my Nazis, you're perfectly justified in doing it. It doesn't matter if you're the ones who are starting it. It doesn't matter if you're the ones who created said Nazis. You're still justified in doing it.
How do you like that? I got a little the two characters who are not so white in the background, looking unimpressed.
All right.
They're not happy.
Boy.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing I find funny.
I'm triggered.
Notice what they like.
So are they.
Go ahead.
No, he said I'm triggered, and I said so are they, referring to the
Oh no, I
the
didn't.
characters in the background.
Somebody else said I was triggered, but I was pointing out that one thing I've noticed is the fact that, and a lot of people have noticed, and I think whoever was the first one to notice it deserves a medal. They're trying to erase gingers from all these different.
Yeah.
Oh, gingers, yeah.
What's up with that? They took two of them out. The two ginger dudes, gone. Neither of them are gingers anymore.
True. Oh man, speaking of total pieces of shit, you hear about that whole Bill Maher thing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, yes.
What a fucking asshole, right? Jesus.
Well, what do you expect? And like I said earlier, this isn't the first time Bill Maher has gone on television saying something crazy. Come on, the whole recession bit earlier this year, the only way to stop Trump is if we get a recession. I don't care. I understand that'll hurt people, but, you gotta do what you gotta do. Like,
that's so crazy. Like, wanting your country to do bad, wanting people to suffer just so that you can get somebody out of office that you personally don't like. Absolute insanity. Like, these people are... I mean, I think that term social terrorist is, like, really appropriate with these types.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they cause terror on society through social interactions.
Yeah, it just leaves me looking at them like, quite frankly, it's why I have reached that point where I don't want to deal with them anymore. Like,
that's why I block them right away. When they start getting all social justice, I'm just like, goodbye.
Well, it's not even fun debating them anymore because all I have to do is I have reached that point where I can use their own argument against them, and that's the thing. You'd think they'd learn.
Of course not.
Like, all the tools online to learn how to debate, how to convey your message properly without looking like an idiot, and how to entrap your opponent and get them to pretty much hurt their own argument. But instead, what they do is instead of, like me, I'll sit here when I'm playing video games and have lectures and various things going, so I'm gaining more knowledge and able to come into these debates better equipped. Instead, they read confirmation bias, like an article off of Salon or something, and then they're like, oh, I'm an expert on it. I'm sorry, reading an article from Salon does not make you an expert. You have to sit through lectures. You have to read plenty of books, and not just books that agree with your stance.
Well, actually, reading articles from Salon makes you stupid.
Oh, I know.
It actually hurts your brain.
I'm not denying that. I'm saying that's the thing that I'm trying to get. I'm saying like, that's what they do. Like,
it's true.
And it's like, you just have this. The left have become the ones that deny science. It's like whenever one of the things that Michael and I got talking about earlier was whenever you get on the subject of the climate deniers and things like that, and they bring up the 30,000 scientists that agree that climate change is real and this, that, and the other. One of my response to that is, and it's the only proper response. Okay, so you're saying 30,000 out of the hundreds of thousands, if not the million or so scientists that are on the planet are all agree with it. So the rest of the science community who don't agree with it, who say the science doesn't support that, they don't count. Only these 30,000 scientists count. And on top of that, science is not a consensus. You either have the facts or you don't. And like I've stated before, what we should be worrying about is not whether or not climate change is real. It's, yes, the planet's heating up. That's what the planet does. We need to be worrying about when it cools off, you freaking idiots. Because it's not going to take long to cool off. It'll cool off quickly. Because that's how ice ages happen. They happen rather quickly.
Yeah, that's why we got frozen mammoths standing in place.
Yeah, that's true. Man, can you imagine how quickly you would have to freeze to be just like standing there?
But that's the whole point, is the fact that they don't, when you present this for them, they look at you, oh, you're just denying science. No, I'm not. I actually have a grasp of science. What's your excuse?
All right, fellas. I think I'm gonna have to duck out for a minute. I got a few things I gotta do. Well, we got a good start on our little.
Yeah, pop that up there one more time. I want to see this. Good.
1 second.
You got a really far in such a short amount of time. Good job, Josh.
I think we should actually just go ahead and call it quits there.
All right, bros.
Yeah, man. It was. Thanks for inviting me on. It was fun.
Oh, anytime.
Yeah, I always enjoy meeting the minds.
Oh yeah, it's a shame we couldn't get Midnight Cherry on, because that was the original idea. It was to get you, Josh, and Midnight Cherry TV on.
Oh, it's been forever since I've done the Meeting of the Minds. So yeah, thanks for having me on. It's been a while.
Oh, definitely. Like, it's one of those Meeting of the Minds aren't as active as it was. Let's just be honest. Everyone kind of got doing their own thing, so. But there you go, Ninja. Now you get to see it one last time.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
Glorious.
Yes.
But
gives me hope.
All right, Josh, since you're about to be heading out, I'll let you start with the closing pitches.
Yeah, I am Josh the Amazing Animator. You can find me on Twitter at MORDENNIGHT and at MANIMATIONSINC, Manimations Inc., both on Twitter and on YouTube. Yeah, that's it from me.
Cool.
All right, Michael, you're up next.
I'm Michael Derrick. You can follow me on Twitter at Cauldron Comics. And I have a blog, cauldroncomics.blogspot.com. That's where I post a lot of different stuff. The main thing on there right now is a horror comic that I wrote for an artist, J. Paul Sheik. It's called I Played with Fire. If you go there, it'll be on the homepage. It's a short 10-page horror comic. And I also post my webcomic on there, Millennials, which is a comedic satire. I haven't updated in a while, but I'm working on the next chapter right now, so I'm hoping to get that out as soon as possible.
Oh, and a little call out to all the artists out there, just real quick, before I take off. Draw lots of She-Ra characters doing the okay sign. The left loves it.
Yeah.
All right, I'll see you guys later. I'm off. Bye.
See ya.
Catch you later, bro.
Let you finish up there, Derek. Or yeah.
I was pretty much done. Another thing I want to, I've posted this on Twitter, but so next year, me and Iron Sight's artist Ibai Canales, I think we all know and love him. We're going to be launching an Indiegogo project. It's called The Abductables. It's a sci-fi action comedy about a guy who gets abducted by aliens and must fight his way off the ship. So look out for that next year. We're hoping to launch that in March. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. We're posting a lot of art and works in progress and stuff on Twitter. So you can check my Twitter out or check out Mr. Canalis's Twitter at River Channels. So yep, keep an eye out for that.
I saw that earlier. The dude with the
Yeah.
holding the alien gun to his head.
Yep.
Looking
The-
forward to it. Looking
Oh,
forward to it.
thanks, man. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. It kind of like I said, it's an action comedy, and it's going to kind of flip the script on what we think we know about aliens, or as you like to call them, reticuloids.
Yes, you see something reticuloid.
Yes, that was actually the other title for it that I was possibly going to go with was Reticulous, but I went with the Abductables. So
That
Yep.
that is awesome. Like that just goes to show sometimes people steal good ideas from you, and I'm not hurt. I'm honored. The reticuloids are becoming a thing.
Well, we call them the Reticulans, but yeah, we wanted to give you a little shout
Word, I appreciate it.
out.
All right, Ninja, you're up.
All right. I am your friendly neighborhood ninja. You can follow me on Twitter at your ninja friend, and on you the YouTubes at your friendly neighborhood ninjas channel over there. And also, I am your number one for Sporkman fan. You can follow. You can still go and get your copy of Conventions at indieplanet.com. And if I'm not mistaken, you can check him out on Comixology as well. Sporkman. So, yeah, go check those out and make sure you support the sport. Also,
Awesome.
getthespork.com or, yeah, getspork.com.
Word.
So that's about all I have to show. Also, you know what else? I'll show this one too. Go get The Knox. That's a good book about some poor Vietnam veterans, right? They come back feeling all disenfranchised, and they get the bright idea they're going to rob Fort Knox.
Yep.
So you go back that right now on Indiegogo. At the same time, you can go and back Lone Wolf about a Indian who has been fighting zombies for the last 200 years, or at least the cause of zombies. Been trying to stop them. So that's another good book that you can back on Indiegogo.
And
That's
don't
about all
forget,
I have to show for now.
and don't forget
All right.
about Little Girl Lethal. Don't forget about Little Girl Lethal.
That's right.
Gotta
Little
show Slick
Girl
some
Lethal.
love.
Hell yeah, Slick is one of the best guys in our community. Always with an interesting story, too.
Exactly. All right, and as always, I'm your host, the one and only Bob Jones. You can find me on Twitter at Brainiac420. You can find me on Minds and Gab at Bob Jones Comic Wars. And yeah, with that, I shall let you folks go, and we are out of here.